Fox bid on how tariffs are manly and masculine. Oh, hell yeah. Could Trump's tariffs be the ultimate testosterone boost? Amazing. Greg Gutfeld with his poop coffee mug.
Trump's tariffs be the ultimate testosterone boost? The self-proclaimed MAGA lefty says yes.
We shipped jobs that gave men who work with their hands for a living and rely on brawn and physicality off to other countries to build up their middle class. And then we imported millions and millions of illegals.
I'm going to repeat the same thing that I've repeated over and over again. The people that fantasize about manufacturing jobs coming back into the United States of America are not actually fantasizing about working a factory floor. They're fantasizing about the benefits and the compensation packages, okay? They're fantasizing about a world where their wages are enough for one parent in a two-parent household to be able to work and take care of their 3 children, and college is affordable, upward social mobility is a reality, okay? Jobs still exist in the United States of America as it stands. A lot of them are in the service sector, certainly. Not many of them are in manufacturing. Having said that, however, if we were to bring back manufacturing to the United States of America, that is not going to magically bring up wages. It will take time, even if we built the factories, which we don't fucking have currently, okay? The reality is, without labor union participation in the economy, those wages are not going to increase either. Manufacturing is good because it is a reliable mechanism for consistent output. It's better than construction for that reason, because as long as there's a factory there, as long as you got workers inside of that factory, they're constantly making okay? And in that process, working on the assembly line, it is easier for those places to unionize. Having said that, however, it's not a universal principle, as we have found out with Amazon and their union busting tactics. Their tactics of constantly getting people and cycling people out of the distribution facility jobs, because the distribution facilities have to exist everywhere, and also simultaneously, distribution facilities are the closest in terms of the assembly line structure that already exists inside of the factory floors, and yet Amazon distribution facilities are virtually impossible to unionize, with one exception.
Harold, I guess this is based on the idea that a lot of jobs were manly, construction, manufacturing, TV host, that were then marginalized in this kind of cheap labor economy. What say you?
This idea
I saw
of
this one too.
Bringing back the Norman Rockwell vision of the American workforce, I just don't think is what we want. You look at the countries where I don't know who the young lady that was speaking there, but I think I understand her sentiment. We want jobs that come back where we build things and we make things and repair things. We want to build robots and repair robots. We want to ensure that we're building the next generation of medicines and conceptualizing and building out and thinking through. We're the most innovative, richest country the world has ever known, with the greatest and strongest.
That's not true. Like, that's no longer the case. If that was the case, there wouldn't be such a big fuss over China dominating us in global trade. Like, that's just not the case. That's copium.
Military ever. We've done pretty well. We need to keep doing well, but let's not pretend that we're not a country of strength.
Is back. Judge, so Robot Harold says that the past is dead. Forget about the good way.
Yeah, manly jobs. The robot builder. Matt Bruning had a good statement on this. I agree. There's a bit of cargo cultism in which people associate certain labor relations regimes with specific kinds of production and chase the latter, even though it's not necessary nor sufficient for the former. McDonald's workers in Denmark make more than Honda workers in Alabama. Exactly. This is something that I talked about with respect to coal miners, okay? There's this notion in the United States of America that the coal miners are the backbone of the labor force, right? There's less coal miners than there are Arby's workers in this goddamn country, okay? We just have fantasized about the old ways in which manufacturing worked in this country. There are plenty of people that are working right now. 23% are underemployed, but there are plenty of jobs in the service sector. The problem isn't necessarily that there aren't jobs. The problem is the pay sucks. So even if you were to bring back manufacturing, while manufacturing in and of itself has at least manufacturing in general is historically resilient in terms of union participation, that in and of itself would not solve the problem anyway. And we're not even building the factories to be able to do this kind of output. That's it. It's so stupid. Like, we have jobs already. This isn't to say it's bad to combat offshoring of manufacturing capabilities. I'm not saying that at all. But make no mistake, we already have jobs here. The problem is not what kind of jobs we have or whether they're gay jobs as opposed to straight man jobs. The problem is these are jobs that don't pay, because capital owners are the problem. The way that we have designed the society is the problem. It's not China that is the problem. China is just playing the same game that everyone else is playing. They're just playing it better than we are, and now we're mad. We designed this structure, and now we're mad that our own design that has given us affordable treats for decades is actually cooking us because China has far too much power, being the manufacturing hub of the world. Friendly reminder, U.S. factory jobs only became synonymous with middle-class prosperity because of mass unionization. Exactly. Trump's mirage of reindustrialized America covers up this central fact. People forget that factory jobs in the U.S. were despotic hellholes until union drives in the 30s and 40s introduced some security, safety, and industrial democracy. Saying you're pro-factory doesn't mean you're pro-worker. The key to bringing back American prosperity is unionization, not reindustrialization per se. It is definitely good to try and bring back manufacturing plants, but we should be real. Because of automation in the U.S., we'll never again have more than 15% of its workforce in manufacturing. For all these reasons, manufacturing's share of employment has been falling in all rich countries over the past 50 years. Even in Japan, which has promoted manufacturing through protectionist trade policy and government subsidies, the percentage of workers employed in manufacturing has fallen to just over 15%. And this same trend is beginning to surface in China because Japan, regardless of the trade protectionism, is still very much susceptible to the same capitalist modes of production and the capitalist interests. Even in China, this is an issue, okay? Despite that nation's massive trade surplus, its manufacturing sector went from employing 30.3% of all workers in 2013 to 29.1% in 2023. Places like China, on the other hand, can at the very least make up for the lack of the labor force, or rather, places like Japan also do this to some degree. Instead of doing mass layoffs, they try to maintain people in those jobs regardless of automation. And that is the new method that should be in place, that people should still oversee the robot arms, okay? Automation should not be used as a mechanism to displace the pre-existing labor force. It should be used as a mechanism to lift the burden of the pre-existing labor force. Automation should be a thing that we are actually excited about so that people don't actually have to work, but they still collect the paychecks, higher paychecks than they ever did, in less time than they ever did. This is the problem. And if you don't actually change your strategy, if you don't actually change your vision on this, you will never be able to solve the issue, because the issue in and of itself is the wealth inequality, is the income inequality. That's it. Dude, talk about self-checkout. That's the perfect example. Exactly. Self-checkout is there to displace the pre-existing cash register workers, okay? Because cash register workers have to get benefits. They can get hurt on the job, and then you have to do workers' comp. There's so much going on. Labor is the most malleable aspect of commodity production. And of course, for that reason, it's the one that gets the downward pressure all the time from capital owners. Self-checkout is fine as long as you still have a cashier working the exact same self-checkout process. If you want to do self-checkout, that's all fine. If you want to do automation, that's fine. You still have to have the same labor force. And that would require capital owners to eat away at their profit margins, and they will never do that. It goes against capitalism. It goes against the way that we have designed this system. That is the problem. The system is at fault here. So if you do everything in your power to avoid addressing the real elephant in the room, which is capitalism, then you will never be able to solve these issues. You'll just engage in these cope spirals where they turn around and you say, hey, guess what? We're going to bring back manufacturing to the United States of America, and everyone's going to go and sew socks in a factory. It's not going to happen. No one is going to do that for 13 cents an hour or whatever the okay? According to Financial Times' Martin Wolf, were the U.S. to entirely eliminate its trade deficit in goods, manufacturing share of the U.S. employment would almost return to its level from 2 decades ago, leaving roughly 85% of U.S. workers employed in other sectors. Capital-intensive industries do tend to be more conducive to unionization because of workers' disruptive plus economic power, but because of automation, most workers won't get such jobs. The big question today is how to unionize the U.S. workforce that will remain mostly employed in services. Labor's recent revival extends beyond the revitalized United Auto Workers. It includes teachers who struck in 2018 and 2019, nurses who battled the HMOs, baristas who've unionized at Starbucks, and the millions of other service and care sector workers who fought back and won. While manufacturing logistics jobs are particularly strategic targets for unionization, we shouldn't accept Trump's contention that only blue-collar workers are real workers, or his hallucination that the path to prosperity is factory jobs for all. We need unions for all. Exactly. Without labor unions, without these factory jobs coming in and unionizing, there will be no American prosperity. The same exact pressures will still exist very much in society. Americans are not too good to participate in global manufacturing. This is a straightforwardly imperialist attitude. Absent actual international governance, the best we can hope for is at least be able to implement controls and regulations. People really lose track of the global realities in this debate very quickly. The U.S. manufactures more than every country in the world except for China. The U.S. is responsible for 16.3% of global manufacturing manufacturing output despite having 4.2% of the globe's population. Let's say that increases. The only reason why I'm an advocate for manufacturing happening here in the United States of America is not because of some spiritual or idealistic reasons or whatever, because I think like, oh, these are manly men jobs and that's going to be great. We're going to make America masculine again or whatever the reason why I say that, the reason why I'm an advocate for it is because manufacturing jobs are more resilient in terms of the pressures against unionization. That's it. And yet, there are still incredibly successful methods of not allowing unionization to happen in jobs that are similar to manufacturing, at least like in the Amazon distribution facilities. But the problem is not the lack of manufacturing jobs. We have a ton of jobs in this country. The problem is a lack of labor power. The problem is a lack of union power. Remember that. Also, this is very funny here. This is the funniest thing. Weak men create hard times.
Bro, there's no way that's a real thing. Bro, we are slaving away over here. My guy's got it.
Why are you dunking on this guy? Bro, this is so dumb. Bro, this is classic construction worker attitude too. It's like, oh, what a pussy. He's using a thing that helps his back. Meanwhile, your back is up, dumbass. For that reason, you should be advocating to get similar tools at your job site. So stupid. Yeah, we should tell construction workers to stop wearing knee pads too. Yeah, no more hard toe boots, okay? No more steel toe boots for you. Don't be a pussy. Don't be a pussy. No more steel toe boots for you, dumbass. Slaving away and man's on his phone recording someone actually doing something. Yeah, I mean, listen. Yeah, he is more productive in that moment than these two guys are.
No way, bro. Oh man, we're getting soft.
Yeah, why is he wearing steel toe boots? I can see it. And it's got a mark on it, as in something fell. Why would you be such a pussy? I worked in construction carpentry for 5 years and I had to accept getting splinters, wood, metal under my fingernails because I wasn't allowed to wear bitch mittens. For the record, this is why OSHA is so goddamn important, okay? Because if left to their own devices, I swear to God, and I know these dudes, okay? If left to their own devices, they would literally kill themselves at rates that you've never seen. Do you understand? This is why you have to have regulations, because these I'm sorry, are too stupid, okay? No disrespect, but also much disrespect. Some of you are in the chat and you know exactly what the I'm talking about. It is literally the dumbest. Oh my God. It's corner cutting every step of the fucking way, where it's like, oh, shut up, dude. I know what I'm doing. I don't need this. I don't need this dumb shit. It's called confidence, you softy. No, thank God. Thank God for regulations. They work 70 hours a week. Safety, the last concern for these fellas. Bro, that's what I'm saying. And then they go, what the happened to my back? If you know anybody that works on a job site like this, I'm sorry, a lot of these dudes do not like the safety regulations. God forbid, okay? But thank God they exist. Once I was on an 18-foot ladder without any help and I wobbled and my whole life flashed before my eyes. I still do it alone because I can't watch you on my phone if there are other people around. Wait, what? Dude, what the You're such a dumbass. Dude, don't do that. Hey, man, I'm on top of a ladder right now, and I'm actually writing this in the chat as I listen to you. And let me tell you, the ladder is wobbling, but it's okay. This is what I mean. They're too stupid. Thank God that there is like some kind of regulation, but they don't even hold to it. They don't even hold you to it. Anyway, I just thought that this was very funny that these guys who also currently have some of those tools that labor unions have fought for, some of the safety regulations that they are taking advantage of without recognizing, on another guy who is also a worker using a tool instead of breaking their back. It's so dumb. Look at this left-wing commentator talking about how building regulations are important. 45 seconds. Oh, yeah, I know exactly what. Yep, the Dave Rubin, Joe Rogan conversation where Joe's like, what the are you talking about?
Eliminated tomorrow. I'm not even really calling for them to be eliminated, but just generally, what problem would you, everything you're building here right now, right? Do you want the government to tell you how to do all these things and all the regulations that you got to have your electric thing this far from this and like all
the regulations like that for construction are important though. You do have to make sure that people don't do stupid
But
make sure
generally,
you don't have a power lines near a water line.
Like, if you ever worked at a job site, or at least like have done anything with contractors where you have also worked on your own, or have friends that are contractors, have family members that are construction workers, you know how stupid they can get, okay? And I say this as someone who does, you know, sometimes in the past at least have worked with contractors and also simultaneously have a brother who loves doing this stupid when he's, you know, whatever the he's building. The reality of the matter is you can be an engineer with a master's and still go, it's fine that my gloves have direct holes in it when I'm welding. Oh, I'm using a saw. There's like metal chips everywhere, but it's fine. I don't really need to wear my shoes right now. It's all right. You know, it's a little bit.
There's a lot of.
But I would put most of that on the builders, though. They want to build things that are good. Now, I get it.
That's not true. Listen, people
people are going to build
corners all the time. Like, you have to have regulations when it comes to construction methods, or people are going to get fucked.
They cut corners when there are regulations anyway.
They do. They would cut a lot more if there weren't regulations.
No, 100%. My brother's a union pipe fitter. He hates the union, hates OSHA. Any labor besides the labor he does is lesser than. I slowly try to radicalize him, but he's legitimately dumb. I think he has too much lead or head trauma. This is a very old interview. Joe Rogan probably has a similar attitude to Dave Rubin now on this issue. All right, testosterone boost for Trump tariffs. These are going to be manly men jobs that are coming back. We're going to have hard dick men. Okay, we're going to have men with hard cocks working with hard hats.
Isn't that what Obama said, that we didn't have that magic wand for all the manufacturing that's coming back? But look, just talk to Mike Rowe. You know, you don't need a college degree. You can start working with your hands. We need to support the farmers and the ranchers. And, you know, some of that is very accurate, what
Jesse,
she's saying.
You said in the green room, the crisis in masculinity began with the first male flight attendant. Can you elaborate?
It's a stewardess.
There's nothing funnier than a bunch of dudes that get paid $20 million a year to sit around and talk for approximately 4 hours every week total while wearing makeup, talking about the crisis of masculinity. It's like, dude, you're a English major wearing makeup that get paid $20 million a year to just be like, yeah, we got to stop being woke and gay. It's like, what are you talking about? Half of the comments that I see on Twitter about how like Americans are going to love to work in factories, half of those comments are coming from dudes who are not in a masculine industry at all. They're podcasters and cryptocurrency traders. How the is that the masculine industry? Like, you're not working in a goddamn factory. What the are you talking about?
Yes, Greg,
Okay.
and they will always be stewardesses. Even if it's a male flight attendant, I say stewardess. They don't respond
They don't
usually.
answer.
That's an artificial stance.
That's also an artificial stance. Hopefully, when you sit behind a screen all day, it makes you a woman. Studies have shown this. Studies have shown this. And if you're out working, like building robots like Harold, you are around other guys. You're not around HR ladies and lawyers.
What do you
that gives
do?
you estrogen.
What do you do?
Oh my God. Even Judge Janine goes, what do you do? Oh my God. Even Judge Janine clapped them.
The jobs thing is one issue for masculinity, but there are many other pieces, including education, religion, and commitment.
Fathers.
Here.
Yes. Also, if you got a desk job, work shirtless.
Yeah, these guys, the cope is amazing.